doing now for the rest of this unit. Okay, but we're just going to add a new way to solve quadratics. So today we're going to look at solving quadratics by factoring. So I guess there's good news and bad news with this topic. Solving quadratics by factoring is easy if you know how to factor. Okay, if the factoring unit did not go well for you, solving by factoring is not going to go well for you. Okay, but like I said yesterday, right, we're sort of collecting a bucket of a variety of ways that we can solve quadratics. So if solving by factoring isn't one that's your strength, that's okay. We're going to look at some more methods that you might prefer more. Okay? Solving by factoring is all based on one statement. And that one statement says, if A times B equals 0, if we have two numbers multiplied together, right? That's what A times B is, two different numbers multiplied together. They can be any numbers. They do not have to be the same number. Two numbers are multiplied together, and they equal 0. Then, A has to equal 0, or B has to equal 0. They don't both have to equal 0. Okay, it means they are both possible options that would make that statement true. Okay, and this is something that's very unique to a solution of 0. Right, if you remember way back when, and we talked about properties, we have a multiplication property of 0 that says when something equals 0, we have to be multiplying by 0. Okay, so think of your favorite number in your head. Whatever number it is. Okay? Multiply it by another number where the answer will equal 0. So you're going to have your favorite number, right? This is the number you're thinking of, times, fill in the blank, and it has to equal 0. Yeah, what number are we all filling this blank in with, Olivia? 0. 0. If your favorite number was 0, then you could fill anything in here because you have a 0 here. Either way, one of these blanks is 0. Can we do that if I change this to 4?
No.
No. Right? 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4. Those can be flip-flopped in any order. And that's not even talking about what happens if it equals 100. Okay, so it's very unique to 0. Okay. Now, sometimes we use this property when the problem looks all fancy-smancy. So let's say I have something that says x times x plus 5 equals 0. Do I have two things being multiplied together? Yes. What's the first one? X. Here's what's representing my A, right? What's the second one?
X plus 5.
X plus 5, the entire thing, right? Here's my second one. What are those called? What are x and x plus 5 called? Coefficients is a number in front of a variable. Olivia?
Parameters?
No.
Did we learn this semester?
Yes.
Okay.
When we have two things multiplied together that equal something, they are. No. I mean, this one is a binomial, but that's not what two things. Huh?
Equivalent?
No.
Multiple.
Factors, right? Those are our factors. X is a factor, and x plus 5 is a factor. We're going to give it to Eric, even though he just started shouting out vocab terms, but that's okay.
I just tried it.
So our factors, the things being multiplied together, are x and x plus 5. I could even actually go with multiples here. Okay, that's okay.
Got it, let's go.
We can set each of these things then, by this statement, we can say each of these things then, either the first one has to equal 0, or the second one has to equal 0. So either x has to equal 0, or x plus 5 has to equal 0. Well, x equaling 0 is just given to us. This says x equals 0. This one, we're going to have to do a small amount of math work. How do we solve x plus 5 equals 0? We subtract 5 from each side.
And you get negative.
And we get x equals negative 5. So that says x can equal 0 or x can equal negative 5 for this equation to have an answer of 0. Are we okay with that statement?
Can you run through how you did that exactly?
Hang on, we're going to do another one. Yes, Eric?
So both x equals 0 and x equals
They're-
negative 5 are the answers?
They're both answers because when we have a quadratic, how many solutions are possible?
2.
2. Right? It can get even fancier. Do I have two things being multiplied together on this problem?
Yes.
Yes. Does it equal 0?
Yes.
Yes. Right? Which means that first property we learned means that either the first factor has to equal 0
Or the second.
or the second factor has to equal 0. Okay, so what's our first factor up here?
Y minus 3.
So either y minus 3 has to equal 0 or what's our second factor?
Y plus 4.
Y plus 4 has to equal 0. What do we then do with these two things?
Solve.
Solve them. Are we okay on that one? Now, here's the cool news. This works not just for quadratics, this works for anything. Which means as long as we have something set equal to 0, it doesn't matter how many things are multiplied together, or even if they have the same variable. So it can be something we are completely unaware of how to solve in any other way, shape, or form. Okay, so if I have something that says x squared times 2y plus 8 times w minus 7 equals 0. I mean, can we even think about something as a graph that has 3 different axes?
No.
No, I mean we don't plot anything with an x, a y, and a w axis. Okay, so thinking about this is something we wouldn't otherwise know how to do. But we know that it equals 0 And we know that we have some stuff being multiplied together. So that says each one of the factors, one of them has to be 0 for this to work. So 4x squared could be the one that equals 0.
2y plus 8.
2y plus 8 could be the one that equals 0. Or w minus 7 could be the one that equals 0. And when we break it down into its smaller pieces, well, then it's no big deal. How would we solve this first one?
Divide.
Divide by 4. Then what?
Square root.
What's the square root of 0? 0, right? This one doesn't get a plus or minus because it's 0.
There's our well,
Okay, let's solve our second one. What are we going to do first?
subtract 8.
Subtract 8. If
Divide
you've
by
slept a
4.
little bit since first trimester and you forget how to solve two-step equations, either come into plus time or I have a different video on my website you can watch.
Divide 2.
Divide by 2.
Y equals negative 4.
Y equals -4.
Add 7. W step.
And so all of these would be potential answers?
Wait. Oh, okay.
Okay, does that make sense? So we're going to take this one tiny step further today. Not a big step forward, a very teeny tiny step forward. X squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0.
So,
Does this have two things being multiplied together?
no.
No. There is nothing here that we can split up and we can set equal to 0. However, we just spent an entire unit talking about how to write this with parentheses. Right? So if this equals 0, it has to equal 0. None of this works if it doesn't equal 0. Okay, so if it equals 0, we can look right over here. And how did we say last unit we would write this into factors? How many terms does that have?
3.
3. So what do we do?
Oh.
A times C is?
Right. Short.
It's a shortcut, right? So 1 times 12,
Oh yeah.
2 times 6,
3.
3 times 4. Which set do we want to pick?
3 plus 4.
3 and 4. Why am I picking 3 and 4?
3 plus 4 equals
Because it adds up to 7. We can use the shortcut, so I can go straight to two binomials. X plus 3,
and
x plus 4. And now I'm just substituting this in. Instead of writing x squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0, I can say x plus 3 times x plus 4 equals 0, because these factors are equivalent to the original problem, right? All those fun words we've been talking about. And now doesn't this look like what we just did?
yes.
So what can I do with this x plus 3?
Distribute.
No, that will take me back here.
Do you put it on 8x equals 0?
X plus 3 can equal 0. Or
X plus 4.
x plus 4 can equal 0.
Subtract 3. Yeah.
Those are things that we know how to solve.
Bam.
And we get answers of x equals -3 or x equals -4.